Welcome to the Mary Potter podcast.
Yes. Well,
Get ready for your weekly magical probe into the wild and wonderful world of wizarding flash fiction.
that's right.
Think fantasy films and epic series, but distilled into bite-sized tales of magic and fantastic creatures.
Exactly.
Rate and follow the show for more captivating stories.
More captivating stories from the Mary Potter podcast.
This week, we're embarking on a magical probe into two distinct flash fiction stories
Yes.
that you, our listener, brought to our attention. Arcane High and The Reluctant Necromancer.
These offer a fascinating juxtaposition,
They really do.
exploring the often tumultuous landscape of magical adolescence and the unexpected inheritance of arcane power.
Yes.
Our aim today is to go beyond a simple retelling and really unpack the underlying conflicts, the moments of humor, and those surprising twists that make these narratives so engaging.
Okay, so let's dive right into Arcane High and the wonderfully chaotic experiences of Willow Blackwood at a school specifically for the magically gifted.
Sounds good.
You chose this flash fiction story, and I imagine the familiar backdrop of high school, now infused with magic, held a certain appeal.
Absolutely. What immediately grabs you is the central conflict that's established right from the start. Willow's magic operates on its own unpredictable terms.
Right.
It's not a subtle suggestion. We get these wonderfully vivid, almost cartoonish examples. A sudden downpour of frogs in the cafeteria, her locker spontaneously sprouting wings, and as we soon learn, her day in Elemental Control 101 is shaping up to be just as eventful.
Exactly. You picture the other students, these young mages, confidently conjuring perfect jets of flame and gracefully manipulating water,
Right.
demonstrating this refined control.
Yeah.
Then you have Willow, who attempts a delicate breeze and ends up with a feather that smokes and then erupts in a shower of confetti. It really highlights the, shall we say, unique nature of her magical abilities, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It makes you wonder about the very nature of magic in this world. Is it always meant to be tamed?
That's a crucial point to consider. This contrast isn't just played for laughs. It immediately raises questions about what normal even means in a setting where the fundamental laws of nature are routinely bent. Is Willow an outlier, or does her experience suggest something more fundamental about magic's inherent unpredictability? And then we're introduced to Flynn, the telekinetic heartthrob, and Brittany, the picture of popular perfection.
Right.
Instantly layering those classic high school social dynamics onto this magical canvas.
Flynn. Even amidst the magical mishaps, a bit of teenage normalcy, or at least as normal as it gets when someone can move things with their mind. His small gesture of encouragement clearly resonates with Willow. But then poor Brittany, with her immaculate cheerleading uniform, becomes the unwitting recipient of Willow's magical exuberance.
Here's where the flash fiction story really leans into the comedic potential of the situation. It's not just one isolated incident. It's this escalating series of mishaps.
Yes.
The trash can suddenly gaining sentience and chasing Brittany, a truly memorable image, followed by her rather undignified encasement in ice. You can almost feel the collective gasp and then the suppressed laughter of the other students.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think that kind of public display does to Willow in the already pressure cooker environment of high school?
It's mortifying, right?
Yeah.
And the headmaster's booming reaction echoing through the gymnasium just amplifies the spectacle. You get this immediate sense of his utter exasperation, like this is far from an isolated incident. And then the glimpse into Willow's file, the great cafeteria jellyfish fiasco, the time the library turned inside out, it paints this hilarious picture of a student whose magical journey has been one consistently chaotic event after another. It makes you wonder how many times he's had to deal with magical mayhem of this scale.
It suggests that within this magical world there are varying degrees of control and predictability, and Willow seems to exist on the far end of that spectrum.
Right.
The fact that these incidents are documented and have earned her an interesting file suggests that while magic is commonplace, uncontrollable magic is still noteworthy.
Yes.
And the headmaster's decision to send her for drastic measures to the specialist in the East Tower speaks volumes about the perceived severity of her situation.
Uh-huh.
It's not every day you abandon spellcasting safety protocol.
Exactly. The description of the East Tower itself, leaning precariously with that wonderfully ominous sign, immediately signals that whatever awaits Willow is going to be unconventional, to say the least.
Yeah.
It builds this anticipation for a solution that is likely just as quirky and unpredictable as Willow's magic itself.
And then we meet Balthazar, the supposed expert napping on a floating armchair, with those wonderfully incongruous details. The mismatched socks,
Wow.
that vibrant pink potion clinging to his beard. It's a deliberate subversion of the typical wizened mentor figure, isn't it? It immediately suggests that Willow's approach to learning magic might need to be as unorthodox as her abilities. What did that initial image of Balthazar convey to you?
It definitely set a tone of humorous eccentricity.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be your typical remedial magic class, and Willow's apprehensive gulp perfectly captures the uncertainty of the situation. This grumpy napping wizard is supposed to be the one to help her harness her wildly unpredictable magic. It's a fantastic setup for a potentially very funny and hopefully effective, albeit unusual, learning environment. It leaves you wondering what kind of abandoned spellcasting safety protocols they might be employing.
If we consider this flash fiction story beyond just the comedic elements, it raises some really interesting questions about the nature of talent and learning.
Yeah.
Is true mastery always about rigid control? Or is there value in embracing a more fluid, even chaotic approach? Perhaps Willow's journey isn't just about learning to control her magic, but about understanding its unique nature and finding a way to work with it rather than against it. What do you think this says to someone whose own skills or talents might not fit neatly into conventional categories?
That's a really insightful way to look at it. It reframes Willow's problem as a potential strength just waiting to be understood.
Right.
Now, let's take a complete turn and delve into the reluctant necromancer and the tale of Zeke, an orphan teenager who inherits not just a spooky old mansion, but also the rather unconventional powers of necromancy.
Oh, yes.
You picked this flash fiction story, and I suspect the blend of the supernatural with that very relatable teenage reluctance might have caught your eye.
Precisely. The core of this flash fiction story lies in that central conflict. Zeke's obvious desire to live a normal teenage life, clashing directly with the rather significant responsibility of being the town's only defense against the undead.
Yes.
His initial encounter with a zombie, where he attempts a casual conversation, perfectly illustrates his complete lack of enthusiasm for his newfound calling.
Right.
It's that mundane reaction to the extraordinary that provides the initial humor.
It's so wonderfully understated. You have this shambling member of the undead, and Zeke's just trying to process this while probably also thinking about what's for dinner. But the reality is Hollow Creek has a genuine zombie problem, and he's suddenly the designated last line of defense.
Yeah.
His almost polite attempt to command the zombie to return to its grave.
Yeah.
It highlights his utter inexperience and his very literal interpretation of what being a necromancer might entail. He's clearly missing the more assertive approach.
And that's beautifully contrasted with the unexpected humor of the breakdancing zombie.
Right.
It's such an absurd and imaginative image that completely subverts the typical slow-moving, groaning portrayal of the undead. It injects a vital dose of levity into a narrative that could easily become quite dark.
Yeah.
What do you think that unexpected element of humor achieves in the story?
It makes the fantastical relatable, doesn't it? It takes this inherently grim concept and injects a bit of the unexpected, making it more engaging and less overtly frightening.
Yeah.
And then to raise the stakes, you have the classic antagonist enter the scene, the mad necromancer with the striking bone-white hair and those ominous glowing purple eyes. She's the embodiment of everything Zeke doesn't want to be, and her demand for his power immediately escalates the tension.
The moment when Zeke tries to wield his inherited powers against her, and nothing much happens, really underscores his reluctance and his lack of any real training.
Yeah.
He's been thrown into this supernatural conflict unprepared and unwilling, and his powers seem to mirror that resistance.
Right.
It highlights his vulnerability against a seasoned, power-hungry necromancer. Did you find that moment more suspenseful or comedic?
Definitely a bit of both. You feel for him, this kid who just wants to be left alone, suddenly facing this powerful villain. But the image of him flailing and his powers not cooperating is also darkly funny.
Mm-hmm.
But then the turning point, Zeke's realization that he can use his lack of control as an actual weapon. The graveyard scene with the breakdancing zombies somehow triggering this chain reaction of slapstick undead carnage is just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's chaotic, it's absurd, but it's effective.
It's a clever subversion of expectations. The mad necromancer expects refined control and powerful dark magic, but she's confronted with utter unpredictable chaos. Mm-hmm. Zeke isn't strategically commanding the undead. He's inadvertently unleashing them in the most bizarre way possible.
Yeah.
And his hasty escape, yelling that wonderfully vague command, "Zombies of Hollow Creek, I order you to do whatever," perfectly encapsulates his seat of his pants approach to this unwanted role. It's not about mastery, it's about improvisation.
And the ending back at the mansion, the sheer exhaustion Zeke feels, coupled with that strange sense of pride, it's so human. He's survived this insane night, even if it was largely by accident. And that final, very grounded concern for industrial strength deodorant, it's that perfect blend of reluctant heroics and mundane teenage anxieties that makes the character so endearing and the flash fiction story so memorable. What do you think that final detail adds to our understanding of Zeke?
It brings him back down to earth, literally. Despite facing the undead and a powerful necromancer, he's still a teenager dealing with very real, if slightly unpleasant, teenage concerns. Right. It reinforces the idea that even in the most extraordinary circumstances, the ordinary aspects of life persist.
Yes.
And it also suggests that perhaps embracing responsibility, even when unwanted, can lead to a strange kind of satisfaction.
Right.
Even if you still need a lot of deodorant afterwards.
So from the hilariously unpredictable magic of Willow at Arcane High to the accidental zombie wrangling of Zeke in Hollow Creek, these two flash fiction stories offer such a fun and imaginative exploration of the magical world. We've seen how powers that defy control can lead to both comedic chaos and unexpected solutions, and how inheriting a magical legacy can be a burden that ultimately reveals a hidden strength.
Consider Willow and Zeke for a moment.
Yeah.
What potential do you see for them in the future?
Yes.
How might Willow learn to harness her unique magical talents? And how will Zeke navigate his role as the unlikely protector of Hollow Creek?
What aspects of their experiences resonated most with you, our listener?
We hope this magical probe into these captivating tales has sparked your imagination and offered a bit of magical insight into the unexpected twists and turns of life, whether magical or mundane.
If you enjoyed these dives into the wizarding world of flash fiction, be sure to rate and follow the Mary Potter podcast for more enchanting stories.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week with another exploration into the fantastical.
That sounds great.